And begin to deepen your breath. If you want to go ahead and begin practicing your Ujjayi breathing with the tongue lightly behind the upper two teeth, the tip of the tongue. The back of the throat is hollow. And then there's tone that comes down the back of the throat. So that as you inhale, see if you can make the inhale smooth. And the pause at the top of the inhale as smooth, and that transition, so then you're into your exhale. And again, that same quality. You're really working with this quality of grace. At the bottom of your next exhale, go ahead and release any control on your breath. But just notice where you feel your breath moving in your body. You might also notice the quality of your mind just from that simple practice. So in the Kalabati breathing, the only part of the body that's really moving is the solar plexus. And the rest of the body is quite still. So you're welcome to take whatever, you can stay in the seat you're in, or you're welcome to change your position. And then you might take one of your hands and place it on the solar plexus. Let's see, right at that space of the lower ribs and the diaphragm. And so to begin, you'll take, I'll set the pace for the exhale. And if you're curious, I can demonstrate it to you, but we can do a little short practice. But with your one hand on the solar plexus, take a full inhale and a complete exhale. And then you take just a partial inhale. Then at the end of that, I'll say, inhale deeply, and you'll hold the breath all the way in and allow the rib cage to kind of blossom. We'll suspend the inhale, and then we'll exhale completely. And then we'll do 2 more rounds. Okay? So taking one hand on your solar plexus, inhale through both nostrils and exhale through both nostrils. Partial inhale. Inhale. Hold the inhale. Let it fill the rib cage. And then release the breath. Just take a normal inhale and a normal exhale, whatever that is. And then taking another full inhale through both nostrils, exhale out both, and a partial inhale. Inhale. Hold the breath in. Allow the chest to blossom. Exhale completely. Normal inhale. Inhale through both nostrils. Exhale out both. A partial inhale, last round. Inhale, suspend the inhale. Exhale. You can release the hands, just noticing quality of the mind, quality of the breath. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. This morning, you're welcome to join me chanting the sound of Om. Take a deep inhale. And with your next exhale, you can bow your head towards your heart. And release your hands. So to begin our practice today, I want you to, we're going to either sit in Vajrasana, or if your knees don't like Vajrasana, you can have both legs straight to start. So in other words, when you come, if it's comfortable for you, you might like a blanket under your knees. Oftentimes people enjoy that. And a block or two. The knees are together, the heels are wide. A block will be on the lowest setting for me. Some people will need more. If I take my hands at the backs of my knees and pull the flesh away from the knees and out to the sides when I sit down. That's one way. If sitting in Vajrasana is not comfortable for you, then I would suggest go ahead and just sit on a block and take, you could just have 2 straight legs and take a second blanket to put underneath the knees. If sitting in Vajrasana is uncomfortable, then sit like this. Okay? So one of those seats, either Vajrasana or both legs straight out with the pelvis supported. And then let's inhale, take the arms straight ahead. Exhale, pull the hands towards you with the hands clasped. Inhale, reach them out. Exhale, lift your arms. Take another deep inhale with the arms out, and exhale, take the arms out wide, drawing the fingernails back. You're reaching out the heel of the hands. We're going to take the hands all the way down. One more time, we're going to take the arms straight ahead, change the clasp. Inhale, draw the hands toward you. Exhale, press them away. Inhale, lift both arms. And exhale, release the arms again. So whether you have 2 straight legs or 2 bent knees, let's go ahead and put your right foot on the floor. So you're either going to be sitting like this, or you'll have your left leg straight and your right foot on the ground. You might have a second block or a book or something off to your right. We're going to take a twist here. So lengthen up through the crown of the skull. And as you exhale, you're twisting towards your right. So you can take your elbow to the outside of the knee, and you might just hold the knee with your hand. You might have a clasp with your elbow, inner elbow, twisting to your right. You can have your left hand back on, your right hand back on a block. Rising, turning. And then we're going to exhale, come back to center. I'll bring my prop around to my other side. If I'm going to stay in Vajrasana, I'll either take that leg back. Otherwise, you're going to straighten your right leg. Bring your left foot to the ground and lengthen up through the crown of the skull. Exhale, turning towards the left. And you might notice, because we've been working a lot with where's the crest of the pelvis on the right side, all the way down to the greater trochanter on the right, that outer hip. Can you keep spacious right there? Can you also lift at the top of the breastbone a little bit here? And then with your next exhale, let's come back to center. Great. All right. We'll come off of whether you're in the straight leg version or the bent knee version. Go ahead and come up from there. You can move your blocks off to the side, move your blanket out of the way. And then let's go ahead and take, come onto your hands and knees. Open the back of the right leg, right knee. Switch. And since we haven't really warmed our calves up, can you take one of your blankets, or maybe you need more than one, maybe you want 2 blankets, depending on how tight your hamstrings are. We're gonna come to downward facing dog with the heels up on the blanket. So that as you come up into downward facing dog, if you're doing downward dog today, root back into the heels. You're strongly reaching from the shoulder blades to the upper arm bones. Good. Yeah. Is the pubic bone moving between the inner thighs? That looks beautiful. Yeah, I'm seeing some of you anyway. Long spine. Good. Great. And then inhale, come forward to plank pose. Exhale, go ahead and bring your knees to the ground. And then your next exhale, take the hips back for a child's pose, but let's keep the arms forward. Inhale, come back to all fours. Exhale, downward facing dog or puppy. Inhale, plank. Exhale, knees come down, and then all the way to child's pose, the same exhale. 2 more times. Inhale, all fours. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. And exhale, child's pose. So can you arrive right at the bottom of the exhale? There's the pause. Inhale, all fours. Exhale, downward dog, moving with your breath. Inhale, plank. Your exhale, child's pose. That same elegance. Stay there in child's pose for another inhale. Another exhale. And then inhale, come back to all fours. And here, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna push my blanket out of the way, the one that we had the heels on. And let's bring your chest to the ground. So you take a deep inhale, you're on all fours. And then exhale, bend the elbows and lower your chest to the ground. And then come all the way down on the floor. And then can you prop yourself up on your forearms? So now palms are on the ground. And you're up on the forearms, elbows under the shoulders. The wrists are as wide as your shoulders. So if you were in class yesterday, we were talking about where's your abdominal organs right now? Do you feel them pressing into the front body? Probably. So I'm going to ask you to draw the abdominal organs a little bit back. So you feel like right above the pubic bone, you probably feel a little lift as you draw the organs towards the back body slightly. Keep that tone in the belly, so you've got the deep abdominals wrapping. And can you keep that tone? Can you keep the abdominal organs balanced between the front and back body? And begin to lift a little through the top of the breastbone. And again, working this piece of the grace, the elegance. How do I do that? How do I lift, keep a little tone in my belly? I don't want to sacrifice my lumbar spine. And then we're going to exhale and release. And when you release, take the elbows wide, stack the right hand on the left. You can either place the chin or the forehead down and just take 3 deep breaths. Great. And then at the bottom of your next exhale, release the hands, bring the palms by the side ribs, reaching out the legs, toning the inner thighs. Inhale to cobra. Just a little cobra. Exhale, lower. Inhale, all fours. And exhale, downward facing dog. And take 2 more deep breaths in this downward dog pose. And at the bottom of the next exhale, walk the hands towards your feet. Release the head, shift the hands to the hips, and inhale, come up to standing. Exhale, hands in Anjali Mudra. And then let's release both arms. All right, so let's set up for side angle pose. So taking 1 or 2 blocks, please. So we want to just get a more space in the side body. Step the feet wide apart. Turn the right foot out, left foot in. You can place a prop at the outer right shin. Inhale when you're ready, take your arms out. And exhale, side angle. Vajrasana. And you can go back to, oh yeah, I had my heels in downward dog. I had my heels on the blanket. So find the heels again. Reach into the left outer heel. Can you connect that all the way up into the left side body? What happens when you tone the left inner thigh, the back left inner thigh? And then inhale, let's come back up. And switch to the second side. When you're ready, inhale the arms out. And exhale, Vajrasana, side angle pose. Once again, notice the heels and find on the back foot, find the back outer heel. And you can always, the beauty with blocks, you start with them really tall, or maybe you have 2, you make it very accessible, because while you're there, things are changing. Yeah, and oh, this is great. That's it. This is beautiful, because like Linda Kay, you have this amazing beam of light that's shining right at your right side ribs and pelvis. Right there where all of us, she is reminding us as the light hits her to really expand through that space. Really expand and lift at the right lower ribs, all the way to the side of the pelvis on the right. Just creating space in the side body, yeah. And what happens when you tone the back adductor? You might feel like the pelvis turns slightly. Does that help me create more space in those lower back ribs? Cool. And then let's go ahead and inhale and come back up. Great. And make both feet parallel. You might need a block or 2 to come out in front of you. because what will come in standing, because we want to, the feet are parallel. Can you lift at the top of the breastbone? And exhale as you bow forward. Keep the heart lifted. You notice the pelvis, there it goes, the perineum moving back between the inner thighs. Hands can come down to your blocks. And let's walk the blocks forward. If we have our blocks, we can walk the blocks forward and we can put our hands like downward dog arms and they can be on the blocks or the ground, depending on our hamstrings. Let's press firmly into the hands, broaden across the upper back. And you might take one of your hands to the back of your sacrum, and you might feel across there and ask yourself, is my sacrum level? If your sacrum is level, then strongly reach from the lower inner thigh into both feet. If you find that one side of your sacrum is a little higher, then reach on that side. So for example, if my right side of the sacrum felt slightly higher, I'm going to reach more actively from my right inner knee, thigh, all the way into my right heel. Breathing deeply. And then let's walk the hands back. Shift them up to your hips. And inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, we'll step the feet together and find mountain pose. Let's take this into a sun salutation. So you got your blocks at the top of your mat. And when you're ready, just walk up to those blocks. Place your hands in front of your heart. Inhale, lift both arms. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale halfway. Exhale, right foot back, low lunge. Take the arms out into an airplane. And come upright. Keep reaching through the back leg, back inner thigh. And if you like, you can lift the arms. You get a sense of that front to back balance through the torso. Inhale, take the arms back wide. Exhale to plank. Inhale in plank pose. Exhale, touch the knees down. Bring your chest down. Legs are on the ground. And maybe the forehead. Your next inhale, cobra. Exhale, lower. Forehead touches. 2 more. Last little cobra pose. Strong legs. And the exhale, lower. Inhale to all fours. And exhale, puppy or downward facing dog. One more full inhale. Great. And then with your next exhale, let's step your right foot forward. You can always pull the blocks in. If you have your hands on blocks, please make them framing your front foot so you don't have to reach for them. So that you feel like, oh, my spine can be long. I can be toned through the back inner thigh. I can find the ground. With the front heel, take the arms out. What's happening with the deep belly? So where are the abdominal organs? Lift them up a little and come upright. So you can leave the arms wide, up by the ears, or in front of the heart. Inhale the arms back out. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, step forward. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale halfway. Exhale, bow. Inhale upright. And exhale your hands back in front of the heart. Inhale, lift both arms. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale halfway. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank pose. With your next exhale, lower the knees and the chest. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, lower. Inhale, all fours. Exhale, downward facing dog. Back into your breathing. All the way through the practice. What is my breath doing? How can it lead me? One more time, you're going to inhale, plank. And exhale, child's pose. Walk your hands back. And can you take one of your blankets to put down to go underneath a knee? And on the blocks, can you bring, let's take your right foot is going to go on one of your blocks. So you're going to have right foot on top of the block, left block tall. So the right knee is going to go a little in front of your right ankle. I have a right hand on my the top of my right leg. Left hand is on a block. Left fingers. All right, so releasing the pubic bone away from the front inner thigh. And then just notice, are the abdominal organs, how does that balance between the front of the abdomen and the front of your sacrum? How do you balance where the organs are? See if you can find where is the middle. Lift the top of the breastbone. And then we're going to switch sides. So you'll back that up. Take your left foot up on top of a block, right hand on the other block on its tallest setting. So the heel of the left foot, if the foot is bigger than the block, the toes go past the block. I have left hand at the top of the thigh, right fingers on the block, releasing the pubic bone away from the left inner thigh, and noticing, again, how do I balance the front to back in regards to my abdominal, the front lower belly, where the abdominal organs are, and the front of my sacrum. So ask yourself, how do I get them in the middle? What happens when I move them there? What's happening at the front of the right hip? And when I do find a better balance between front and back, am I able to keep it? Great. All right. And then we're going to step back. And once again, can you take downward facing dog? You're welcome to use your hands on your blocks for this downward dog if you'd like. Can you drop back into the Ujjayi breathing? So you hear the soothing sound of the breath with your inner ear. All right. And then let's go ahead and move the blanket out of the way. Walk your feet towards your hands. Shift the hands to the hips. And come to standing. And relax both arms. All right. So I'd like to take Warrior One. So will you please step your right foot back? You step your right foot back. The pelvis is pointing straight ahead, so those two hip points are pointing straight ahead. And if you looked at your back foot has just a slight turnout, like 10 or 15 degrees, not much. So the feet are hip distance, which is what allows the pelvis to stay pointing straight ahead. So sometimes we want, again, that front to back balance in the abdomen as well when we're doing Warrior One. We also want to have, there's a lifting up, but we don't want it to be at the expense of the lumbar spine. So let's take the arms right now, just halfway straight ahead. So they're halfway up and they're straight out in front of you. And exhale, as you bend your front knee, can you strongly reach back from the back right inner thigh to the right heel? Okay, notice. So the sacrum has come forward some. That's fine. It needs to. But how much tone do I want to help balance the lumbar? What's happening at the back lower ribs? I don't want to compress my diaphragm. And then go ahead, lift the arms. Strong in the back leg, keep lifting. So how can I keep lifting up both front and back of my rib cage? I know that for me, I often would compress through the lumbar. So stay really strong at the back adductor. Good. And then we'll release the arms, straighten the front leg, and step forward. Any questions before you do your other side? Okay. So let's try the second side. So left foot back. Pelvis pointing straight ahead. Because sometimes when we step back, we cross over, and I don't want you to cross over. I want the feet to stay as wide as your hips. Let's take the arms just halfway straight ahead. Reach strongly through the back inner thigh, all the way to the back heel. Get a sense of front to back balance in the lower abdomen area. What's happening at the lower back rib cage? Inhale again. And as you exhale, you're bending the front knee. It's not going past your front ankle. Start to lift the arms. Now, can you lift the arms without compressing the back of the diaphragm? Can you still keep lifting up through the back rib cage? Front and back. Strong in the back leg. You can still feel your left heel. And then we'll lower the arms, straighten the front leg, relax the arms, step forward. Inhale, lift both arms. You're going to take a forward fold. So if you need blocks, please get them. You're taking Uttanasana. Inhale, lift your arms. Exhale, bow forward. Hands can be on blocks. If your hamstrings are longer, you can have them on the floor, but make sure that you're really giving yourself some support here after the last pose we just did. Great. Inhale halfway and exhale, bow again. One more time. Inhale halfway. And then exhale. Go ahead and bring your knees to the front. We're going to take another twist. So you might take one of your blocks. You could sit on that block. And maybe you're sitting on a block or two or a bolster, something like that. Taking your right heel towards your left sit bone. And when you bring the right heel to the left sit bone, so that the knee is kind of in midline. And in this twist, then you're going to take the other foot, your left foot, across. I don't have to have this foot flat on the floor. I might have another block off to your left, yeah? And we're gonna exhale and you're just doing a little twist. And then we'll come back to center. I can bring my block that was behind me to the other side and we switch legs. So now left heel towards right sit bone. You could either have your right foot on the inside of your knee, or maybe it goes to the other side, either way. And then twist over towards your right, You can either, a hand on the knee is really nice, just to have the palm meeting the outer knee. That could feel really good. And then we'll exhale and release. Okay, good. Now let's come down to do bridge pose. But let's have your 2 blocks available. Can you also get a strap or a scarf or a belt or something? And if you have one, can you make a loop in it? I did a private yesterday with one of our peers, and you know what, we realized she has a lot of props, but I really recommended a few more props. So don't jerk yourself on the props. That link that Sarahjoy put on the Dia website is such a great prices on those props. All right, so the size of this loop is probably about the width of the upper arms. Maybe it's a little wider, I don't know. And then if you want, you could, if you have a blanket, you could use that. You don't have to. That's gonna go underneath my shoulders. Just gonna do, we're gonna do bridge pose, to supported bridge, to you know, a modified supported shoulder stand. So when you lie down on your back, can you, if you're using a blanket, you've got both shoulders on the blanket, but not the neck itself. I know where my strap is, and I know where my blocks are. So let's go ahead and lift the pelvis to take 1, 2, that might feel really good. Some of you maybe you take the second block on the medium setting, and just notice here where you are, okay? So notice, is there any weight on your cervical spine? If there is, then you need to change something. You don't want any weight on the neck. Are the shoulders supported either on a blanket or the ground, but they're not hanging out in space? What about, can you reach out the inner thighs toward the knees and toward the heels? The strap is going to go beyond your blocks, and you just have to be patient about finding the loop. Once you find it, the hands go inside, the palms face each other, and you use the strap as you press out to help you find that lift through the heart, through the top of the breastbone. The gaze is definitely just a little down towards the heart, not looking at the camera. So you might be happy just staying here. The blocks are on the bony pelvis, probably the middle of the sacrum. And then optionally, you could bring one knee up and the second knee up. So I want the thighs to be vertical. So if I straighten both legs, are my thighs still, you know, vertical? Do I still have a little, there's a small back bend. If this strains the low back, then keep the lower legs dangling. Lift the top of the breastbone, press out on the strap so you feel a broadness across the front of the chest. can you imagine as if somebody could come just give you a little lift right behind the heart? They'd take their fingers, go right behind your heart, and they'd give you a little support right there. So they're supporting you at the back of the heart. We have a lot of support behind us, both seen and unseen. Then you'll go ahead and you'll bend the knees. Do one at a time. The feet find the ground, or maybe you stayed in bridge pose. Great. Pick up the take the hands out of the strap. Lift the pelvis, remove one of the blocks. Then when you pick up the pelvis to take away the second block, especially if you had a blanket, you're going to walk yourself towards your blanket so that the pelvis will be on the blanket and your head and shoulders on the ground. Let's keep the knees bent. Whether you had a blanket or not, please keep the knees bent, feet on the floor, just for a few moments here of resting. All right, and then you're going to roll over to one side, use the arms, push yourself up. And let's take Vajrasana 3. So I'm going to sit on a block. Or let's sit on 2 blocks. Maybe we'll take a little noose pose. We worked on that a little bit. So we'll sit on both blocks. And if you still have your strap right there, can you take the strap and wrap it around the knees and the thighs? So it's on the lower shin and the upper thighs. And then take the tail of the strap off to your left. Reach your right hand behind you, thumb down, to grab onto the strap way over at the left outer hip. And then here, this is you're turning in, you're letting the solar plexus turn in and down as you take your left armpit elbow to the outer right knee. Keep sliding the solar plexus down a little bit. Yes, the left knee has slid a little forward of the right. In this, I'm mirroring you. And then we're going to come back to center. We're going to take the tail of the strap, go to the other side. So now it's around your right outer hip. You're going to take your left hand, thumb down, and reach it all the way around till it finds the tail of the strap over there. And then your right armpit or elbow comes to the left outer knee. Remember, solar plexus turns in and down. And then we'll exhale back to center. We'll take the strap off. Okay. Now, I'm going to make my strap bigger. I'm going to show you, we're going to do this reclined Paschimotto Tanasana. So I'm going to make my strap quite large. I'm going to come off of my blocks and sit them off to the side. And then I'm going to have a blanket, another blanket. If you have a bolster, that would be really nice on top of your blanket. What's going on with this blanket? Let's put that one off to the side. Go with this one. So I'm going to have at least 2 blankets. Oh, that doesn't look like enough. 3 blankets. It's getting better. So if you had a bolster, I would put a bolster on top of those 2 blankets. Then I'm going to sit in front of them. My feet are on the other side of the blanket. And I'm going to lift my pelvis and bring the blanket underneath my pelvis. So pelvis is up on the blankets. Now I'm going to take my strap, which has my great big loop in it. And I'm going to bring both knees up and take the strap around both feet. And I'm going to take my arms inside my strap as well, the wrists. And as I take my arms back, overhead, and the legs. So you can make this strap, this loop, any size you need, okay? And it's not the goal for my arms. They don't have to touch the ground. I'm just supporting this particular position. I don't know if I can see any of you, but I'll come over and see if there's any help I can give you with that. Yeah. Great. Yeah, that looks good. Great. And then bend your knees and go ahead and you'll take your feet, the hands out, the feet out of the strap. And you've got the pelvis is still up on the blankets. Just bring one knee into the chest, both knees. So now you've got 2 bent knees toward your chest. And you can even take a happy baby. Hands can be, elbows on the inner knee, hands at the ankles. Knees wide apart, feet toward each other. So a little reclined, supported Baddha Konasana. And then we'll bring the knees together. Take your feet to the ground. Pick up your pelvis, and some of you might enjoy sliding your little blanket stack to go under your knees for Shavasana. And some of you might just like to be flat on the ground. We're going to take Shavasana. After Shavasana, we'll come up and we'll practice a little pranayama before sitting. So finding your way to your resting Shavasana. Let's begin to allow your breath to deepen. And as you awaken your body to movement, make a mindful transition over to one side. And use your arms to make your way back into a comfortable seat. When you arrive back at your comfortable seat, can you drop back into your balanced Ujjayi breathing to start? And then, if you'd like to, you could take this to box breathing, where you might do a count of 6 on the inhale, suspend for 6, exhale for 6, hold the exhale out for 6, and keep going, whatever is the right number for you. And then let go of any control on your breath. Bring your hands together in Anjali Mudra in front of your heart. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Lynn.
Yes, thank you for showing up.
Thank you.